The Times would be the major way for people to get all their information about the town and the towns around them. That was the only way people, especially in the country, would get any news because there was no radio, there was no television.
Our papers had a lot of changes over the years. We were called the Monroe Times because it was printed and available to be read in the evenings for almost 100 years. In those early days, you're looking at a 4-page newspaper, for the most part put together by one person, Mr. Emory Odell. He had had a background, his dad had had a paper here in town. There were 4 other newspapers here in town. He had to do something that was similar to everybody else, but you also had to do something that was a little bit different. And I'm glad he stuck it out. I really am, because I think he built something really good.
We did everything at the Times. We worked at the desk. People came in to pay their subscriptions. We took the want ads. We typed up the want ads. Sometimes we would have to proofread. And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we went to a small room downstairs next to the press room and counted out the papers for the paper boys to deliver.
I remember well getting the newspapers in the 1950s, and you'd read the Browntown column and the Clarno column and the Judah column. My favorite columns that I write are the ones about the one-room schools. I also really like the ones that bring out some emotion, something that might make you gasp, they might make you laugh, they might even make you cry.
There were 3 of us in the advertising department, Bill Johnston, Terry Buning, and myself. And we were given some accounts to take care of. And we went out and visited them and got advertising for the paper. We had to do the layout and design ourselves. We had to glue our ads together. When you're making a layout, it wasn't running them through a machine like they do now and then it puts the glue on automatically. We had to glue them in, paste them all in place and so forth. It was always exciting to get the newspaper, bring it upstairs and look at it and see.
I basically worked with a sales team running proofs, what the ad looks like before it's printed to our customers, along with answering phones for classified and doing secretarial information. It would be interesting because customers would walk through our front door and they'd be like, oh, I can smell the ink. And I was here, I never really could understand that because it was just a natural smell when you came through the door. But to walk through and you would see the pressmen filling the ink wells on the press, loading the paper on the press, and getting things going. And then you'd be like waiting and you'd all of a sudden start hearing the noise of the press starting up. And you'd walk back there to check the first runs of the paper coming off and then seeing if there were any adjustments that you needed to make, or if there was a error on the headline, hold that press, stop that press.
The Evening Times was always in our household. I saw the ad in the newspaper, sports editor wanted, and just applied that way. Basketball was the family tradition in this house. For me, being the sports editor, I had a 9 o'clock in the morning deadline. I think we went to press sometime around 11. So I was the first one in the building in the morning. I'd come up the steps at 901 16th, had the key, open it up, turn on the lights, and rev up the newsroom.
Monroe Times, this is Adam. Yeah, thanks for calling me back. I got a couple questions. First, let me grab my notebook and my pen. First, can you tell me exactly what happened and when it happened? As times have changed here at the Times over the years, there's been more and more responsibilities put on the editor. So, what used to be a job of just managing the newsroom, managing your reporters, has become this hybrid version of I'm managing the newsroom, I'm a reporter myself, I might even go cover sports, I'm taking photos, I'm laying out page layouts, going to an event, and doing all those things. So I put in probably 50 to 60 hours most weeks.
My job at the Monroe Times entails anything and everything to do with sports. On a typical day, I can be in the office in the morning, typing up some sports previews, typing up recaps, editing photos, posting to social media. In the afternoons, I'm typically at games. We cover 10 different schools, so I can be anywhere from right here in Monroe or New Glarus, Broadhead. We also cover schools in Lafayette County, so like Argyle or Blackhawk or Darlington. I primarily stuck with softball because I knew that was my thing. I was all conference pitcher, all honorable mention all state my senior year. But I vividly remember, because at that time we were a daily, that the next day I would go online and read the write-up that they had in the paper, wondering, okay, how did they write this? How did they put it out? Did my picture get in the paper? I was super excited to be in the paper, to be covered.
What I've learned throughout all these years is how much I love being the local historian, how much I love keeping the community informed. It's a great responsibility, and I've learned that as the years have gone by. We put it right at the top of our newspaper that local journalism matters. Yes, national journalism matters and state journalism matters. Local matters because it's what our local city council is doing and our boards of supervisors and those committees. That's what affects us every day. Our newsroom has changed over the years dramatically. When I first joined the staff in 2008, we had a staff of 10. Right now, we've got 3 people full time in the newsroom. We've got a utility person that helps not just our department, but a couple other departments. We have some really good freelancers that we can use. We can give story ideas to and just let them go out and have a whole beat for a month and know that they're going to give us good material. And this year we have our first high school intern. It's through the Monroe High School SOAR program. We were 6 days a week for that whole time, never printing on Sundays. And then in 2018, Morris Multimedia switched us to twice a week. Those first couple months, even that first couple years, was kind of hard. It used to be you had 1 or 2 local stories and filled the rest of the paper out with a bunch of different news. And now it's every paper is all of your news for that week. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 local stories, press releases, community gatherings and photos, local obituaries. All those different things can still be found in our paper. Our community, time and time again, has proven that we come together when it matters and that we want to keep this community thriving and moving forward. They put the trust in the Monroe Times for 125 years to keep them informed and to keep them kind of entertained. And in turn, the paper has put the trust into the community to continue to support us and to keep us going. Times get hard, whether there's a recession or there's a global pandemic. This paper's made it through 2 global pandemics and able to find their way, and it's because of the community. The community bands together, and that's why we feel so passionate about keeping this paper going and giving these people what they deserve because they treat us so well.
Social media is a little more 24/7. Since we moved to a bi-weekly, it's been a great tool to give quick updates. And again, it's provided kids more coverage. You know, we've got a lot of kids that we cover, and there's just no way everyone's going to get in the paper. But hey, maybe you pop up on our social media. It also taught me to focus on those other kids that they might not be in the scorebook. They might not have a lot of points. They might not be doing a bunch of things, but they're still contributing, and I want to make sure that I get every kid that contributes in the paper. They have a photo, whether it's in the paper or on social media, or they're recognized in some way, because every sport it's a team thing. And I just want to make sure those kids get recognition and they don't go unnoticed.
There are definitely some that stick out. Mike Flanagan, a really good coach at Blackhawk, a Hall of Famer, and I was one of the first people he called to let me know that he was retiring from coaching or resigning his head coaching spot. And I'm sitting up in a parking lot in Madison. I'm taking it all down, and I almost stop what I'm doing to write that story. And that one sticks out to me. I've got ink running through my blood, and I've had it for a long time. I've tried other things, and nothing quite hits the soul like working at a newspaper does.
Between seasons is where I typically do my bigger feature stories because I have the time to do that. First one that comes to my mind is Ethan Aird and his socks from Darlington. I picked up pretty early that Ethan wore some pretty funky socks every time he wrestled. And it was for Carson Hartwig, his friend that had passed away from cancer. And it was a very touching story because I know how much Carson and his family mean in Darlington. Not only was it about highlighting something fun in the socks, but it was also, crediting a very close to heart story for that community.
This year we are celebrating our 125th year of publications. That also means 0 people are alive on this planet that were alive when the first paper rolled out. That's incredible. To me, that means something was built that can last a long time. Something has had an impact on generation after generation after generation.
The 125th anniversary is very special to me. I've been here 41 years, so I've seen a lot of changes come and go since the day I walked through this door. Our readers is what makes us, and our businesses are what makes us, and they're here to support us, and we're here to support them.
I'm glad I was part of it for a little while, and I really enjoyed working there.
We wouldn't do this if we didn't care. We want to serve you as a community to the best of our ability.
We understand we have a vital role in our responsibilities. For me, the passion is just to live that out and make sure that this paper not only survives but thrives.